Hello, everyone. Uh, Thank you so much for coming in and watching. This is the first episode of a brand new campaign. This is called The Chosen Few, and we don't really know exactly what's going to happen today because it's a RPG, and that's the way things work. But we're going to start with a quick round of introductions. If you could introduce yourself, not your character, but yourself. We're going to do character introductions in the middle of the drama, but we're going to start with your self introductions. Starting with the person who's labeled Celexa.
Hi, my name is Nika, and I live in Oakland. I'm a musician, teacher kind of person. I have been playing RPGs for past couple of years, sort of on and off, not super intensively. And right now feels like an amazing time to be playing a lot of RPGs. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited to be here.
Welcome to pandemic life. And the character labeled Caliban.
Oh, hey, I'm Evan. I'm a cellist living in the Bay Area as well. This is going to be a trend. And
This is an all musician and music teacher game, by the way. You cannot join this game unless you are a musician or a music teacher living in the Bay Area.
Yeah, and I've been playing 5e for a couple of years now, and I played a lot of D&D growing up with my babysitters, and so this is like such a fun little thing that I get to come back and do it a lot more from the confines of my home.
Wow, you had a cool babysitter.
No.
Yeah, I'm jealous. I want a babysitter that cool. I guess I kind of did, but not really. My brother was my babysitter, and he was the one who got me into RPGs, but he never let me play with him when we were younger. And the person labeled Thea.
Hi, I'm Ami, blah, 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 also music and teacher person. This is my dog.
Much more.
Yeah. Very important.
This is really basically my first RPG. I've done one very small 2-time campaign, but that was just the drop in the bucket, so I'm looking forward to doing more, and that's it.
Excellent. And the person labeled Timothy.
Hi, I'm John. I am also, yes, a music teacher and musician in the Bay Area. And I know, surprise, that the pandemic lifestyle has done wonders for my hair, hence the beanie. But I've been playing RPGs. I did a little bit when I was younger, but I've been playing regularly in a couple Pathfinder campaigns for the past 4 years with someone else there.
Is this your first 5e game?
This is my first 5e campaign, yeah.
Excellent. Well, welcome to 5e. It's the grapple rules are less than a paragraph.
Yay!
And the person labeled Nova.
Hi, I'm Winona, and this is also my first 5e game. I am also a music teacher. What? I sing and I also play trumpet, and I'm here with this person. we're right next to each other, and because we live in the same house and we're married. So yeah, I'm really excited about this.
You are not our only married couple on the channel. We have another one. They are very cute as well.
Also, in case I don't know if everybody here knows, but the four of us, everybody here except for Evan, we all went to school together, which is how we know each other. So
there you go. Yes, this was originally intended to be an in-person game, but then COVID happened and things changed. So we're sticking with it, though. We're rolling with the punches. By the way, some people know me on this channel mostly as a dungeon master, but actually I do most of my stuff as a music teacher in the Bay Area as well. So I am one of them. Well,
one of us.
Excellent. Okay. Well, let's dive on in. So our scene opens on what I think can best be described as a moment of total panic and catastrophe. There you are, thousands of feet in the air, on a boat that seems to be crashing down to Earth. everything is falling apart. There are chunks of wood heading one way, there are sails heading the other way, and everything is about to come crashing down to earth. And the first thought that goes through everyone's mind is, how the heck did I get here? What are you trying to do to fix the boat, Caliban?
Oh, that's a great question. Where is my character sheet? Oh God. Okay. Who is on? Was it just us on this boat? Who was driving? Who was driving the boat?
It's mostly you. There's a couple of people who are like sail hands and people like that, and a
Oh.
captain. They technically know how to sail the boat, but more of them are dead than you guys. From the
Okay.
recent attack
This
that you
and
guys
this is
just
a
barely
this is a
survived.
boat, right?
It
This
appears
is
to be a
this
ship, a boat.
on the water.
No, it is in the air.
Okay, it is a sky
It is
ship.
falling
Okay.
through the air.
Would this be an air vehicle? Would it count as a water
It
or
was
land
at
vehicle?
one point. Now it is turning into not much of a vehicle at all.
Okay, how close am I to the wheel? How close am I? I mean, it's falling apart, right?
Mhm.
There's,
Yeah, it's falling apart.
but is it working? Question mark. Could I try?
How would you know? What do you do?
Okay, I run as fast as I can to the wheel, to the and try to steer the ship toward what might be a safer landing spot.
Yeah,
than what might be like right below
roll a
us.
perception check to spot a safer landing spot.
Okay, first roll of the campaign.
Mhm.
Rolls. Getting used to roll 20 here.
Yes, if anyone has any roll 20 questions, feel free to ask. I have answers.
So I just click perception, right?
You should just be able to click perception. It'll appear in the sidebar.
Okay.
13. Yeah, you don't see something that's like super great. You see like massive rocky terrain and you see forests. You can choose between the two of them. Which one do you want to aim for?
Oh, forests.
Okay, great. Roll a strength saving throw to try and hold down the spinning wheel as it spins rapidly.
Okay. Not great. 11. No,
Yeah, so you're
11.
11. Yeah, so you're holding the strength spinning wheel, but it's too much weight and it's spinning out of control away from you. Caliban,
Yeah.
I think at this moment your mind flashes back to 3 weeks ago when you were on a different boat. Not one that was falling through the air, but one that was simply sailing upon the waves to a new destination. Why don't we take this moment to see Caliban for the first time? What does Caliban look like? Who is he? How does
Sure.
he feel about this event that's coming towards him?
Well, you see, a young man, with kind of a rower's build, muscular arms and legs, sort of thick and veiny forearms. He's wearing copper wire-rimmed glasses. One frame is round and one frame is octagonal. And he's got very sort of short-cropped, very light-colored hair. You couldn't call it blonde, but you couldn't call it brown either. And he's wearing sort of a pretty fine, sort of patterned shirt, tunic, and ballooning trousers, and he clean shaven, and he's helping sort of guide this boat. He's very comfortable in the water.
Yeah. And I think close to Caliban's chest, the camera gets a quick close-up of a letter. And I'm just going to read this letter to everyone now. This is a letter that all of your characters received, but I'm going to read it only once this stream, even though all of you would have it on you. Greetings. For reasons as yet unknown to us, the representative from the Kava has requested you by name. As far as we can tell, you are seemingly random, but they are adamant that you be the representative. It is our request that you travel by fastest available means to the floating city of Terra Vest. There you will receive instruction and training, as well as recompense for your journeys. Payment for this job is still being negotiated, but you can expect to be reasonably compensated for your travels. I do not need to inform you, but we know very little of the Kava. You will be, as far as we can tell, the first people to enter their borders since before the Tawan Empire 5,000 years ago. This is a situation of some curiosity to us, and so we expect you to report back to us any information that may aid us. We'll have some instructions for you before you depart from Terra Vest. I look forward to meeting you soon. Signed, Oathkeeper Roland Starbrand of the Order of Starlight, and co-signed by revered Ara Lightpath, Director of Terra Vest, the Floating City. So you are on this boat, this vessel, Caliban, and steering through the waves when you see something that is unknown to us before. It's a definitely one of the marvels of the world at this point, at least so far as anyone in this region knows. An entire man-made island floating in the waves that was not there last time you were there. It used to be the capital city of Tawan. It was built on a peninsula, but recently, about 8 years ago, a bunch of scientists and engineers and wizards and clerics all got together and cut this part of the continent off from the mainland and set it adrift upon the sea, floating in the waves. This place is it's a city in all rights and functions, but it's also neutral ground, a place where all the nations have ambassadors who can work out and negotiate treaties and resolve conflicts before they become too much. It is the brainchild of a woman who many found deeply inspirational. Her name was Illumina Starborn, and about 12 months ago, she was killed in an explosion at a signing ceremony here, celebrating peace. So it's already got a blood-stained history for this place of much promise and hope. But there you see it. It's shining and glimmering. There's more metal here than in your homeland of Chalestra. Everything is a little bit harder, a little bit shinier. And the captain of the ship comes over to you and says, "Aye, it is. Quite a beautiful sight to see, ain't it?"
I've never seen anything like it.
Not many have in this land, but she's a beaut and she's not going anywhere. I was not trustful of it at first. It seemed, well, I thought, how could an island float? You know?
I mean, don't all islands float?
I know they're built from the ground up. They sit through the ocean.
Oh, yeah. Right. And he just sort of, you can tell he's kind of distracted, staring at this metal, this emblem of what's to come, just sort of floating in front of him.
Beautiful. Let's flash back to the future. Let's do Nova. So Nova, you two are on this airship that is crashing to the ground. You see as Caliban struggles to try and grab the steering wheel, and it's flooding all over the place. What is it that you're trying to do to try and save you guys from gravity's imminent demise?
Nova is running around like crazy, yelling and attempting to find like some sort of like lifeboat equivalent, so we can bail.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, roll an investigation check for me.
Okay. That's a 23.
Yeah. So no, sorry. Just for the way I have it set up is we're always going to read the number on the left unless advantage or disadvantage comes into play.
Okay.
We'll always read the number. Yeah. So the number on the left is actually the number that you roll.
Great.
That's confusing, but that's how I have it set up for me, for my sake mostly. Yeah, so 20. So you run around and you actually, I think you recall a conversation that you had with one of the crew members who's now dead. I think you actually see their body ripped to shreds by some sort of weird creatures that attacked you guys in the air, of all places. You thought we'd be safe in the air, but something ripped this person to shreds, and you see their lifeless body, and it reminds you that they told you in the captain's quarters there's a small portable hot air balloon, and it might be enough to provide an escape for a couple of people at least. So you run to the captain's quarters. The door is locked. How do you get through a locked door?
I hit it with my sword.
Yeah, absolutely. Roll a strength, roll an athletics check.
Okay. That's a 26.
Yes, that's a natural 20. So you just demolish the door, and inside the captain's quarters, you see that there are like there's these what do you call them? Like benches that are built into the ship that have like cabinets that you flip open where you like hide stuff inside, and you see one of them that's like very big, and you just run towards it and flip it open, and there inside is a totally deflated hot air balloon.
All right.
So at this point, we're going to flash back in time for you. Where were you when you got this letter?
I had just come home from my job, which is as acting as one of the town guards, kind of a very stormtrooper-esque position. And I just got home. I was looking through any kind of mail, seeing what was up at home, and I found the letter.
Beautiful. I love it. And sorry, which nation are you a town guard for?
Priyan.
Priyan. Awesome. Yeah. So you get this letter. Who in town do you have to tell? Do you have connections here? People that you have to let know that you're leaving?
Yeah, I live with my parents and my sister and my grandma.
Okay. And what do you say to them?
I am just like, I'm so excited. I say, Mom, Dad, sister, Grandma, ah!
And I think they all come downstairs. But I think for the sake of the moment, I think it's your mother who speaks to you. Yes. What's happening? Is everything okay?
I got this letter.
Okay. What is it? What letter? What does it say?
I don't know. I mean, I think it says I'm going somewhere, but I'm so excited. I don't even know. I
give it
forgot how
here.
to
Give
read.
it here.
Okay, I give it.
Yeah, and she reads, and she's just like, oh my word, this is exciting. And now she's as giddy as you are, and like now everyone else in the family is like, what's going on, right? Yeah. So and so she like runs over and she like grabs you by the shoulders and just like shakes you to like in a form of like excited hug type thing. She like almost hops up and down with you a little bit. What would you need for your journey? What can we do? I can make sandwiches.
Yes, sandwiches. Also, I should get some new armor, but sandwiches.
New armor, sandwiches. Well, I think it says that they'll provide for you a little bit, right?
Okay. Also, then just the sandwiches.
Yes, it's just the bunny steak. Well, you'll be able to. Well, you know that your father and I, we'd like your salary from the town guard position. I know it's not much, but do you think that you'll be able to send some money back to us?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I'm sure. 100%.
Wonderful. I'm so excited for this opportunity for you. This is amazing. I've always known that you were destined for big things.
That's what I keep saying.
Yeah. And going to the Kava of all places. Wow, that's new. That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's exciting. I think your sister finds you later that night to have just a quieter conversation with you. And she pulls you aside and says, Nova?
Yes.
So, you're leaving.
Yeah, but I'll come back.
Okay, but you're leaving now, though.
Yeah, but I'll come back.
Okay. Well, here, and she reaches down into a pouch and pulls out something. She says, I want you to have this. And she hands you something. You look down at it, and it's some ore probably that she found in the mines. It's a good metal though, and it's a little bit shiny and reflective, but probably not worth much in a real sense. But it's happens to be shaped almost perfectly like an 8-pointed star.
Thank you so much.
Just something to keep you safe. It's lucky.
I know. Thank you so much. This will really come in handy.
So I think our next shot of Nova is as she is leaving her home, and we get sort of our first look at her, sort of decked out and ready to go. What does Nova look like?
She's about 5'6". She's very thin, and she's 19, but she looks several years younger. She has fairly tanned skin from being out in the desert. She has black, messy hair and surprisingly light blue eyes, and just has all kinds of battle scars on her face from getting into fights that she had no business getting into.
Always picking a fight with someone that she shouldn't be picking a fight with. I love it.
Yeah.
That's great. And let's see, from Pryan, you probably would travel overland a little bit to the coast and then take a boat from the coast as well. You might even be on the same boat as Caliban. How do you behave on a boat? Are you someone who's running around, or?
I am absolutely running around. I just like keep running from one side of the boat to the other. And if it was a small boat, I would definitely be tipping the boat a little bit as I was going back and forth. I just want to see and hear and smell everything.
I love it. That's great. Beautiful. Okay, so there is our introduction to Nova. Let's jump back to the future. We've got 3 more of these to do. Thea, this boat is falling out of the clouds. What are you doing in this moment?
I'm trying to find something sturdy to hold on to. As we're
Yeah, that's a great call.
The earth,
yeah, why don't you roll an investigation check?
Okay, can you walk me through how to do that?
Yes. So in what's for you guys, on the right-hand side of the screen, we have sort of our chat. There's a bunch of tags at the top of it. The second tag for you guys is called the journal. You can click on that and you can see your characters, and you should be able to click on a character and get your character sheet. You should be able to click on Thea and get your character sheet.
Yeah.
Thea has stats on the left-hand side, as you can see, but in the box to the right of that, if you scroll down, they're in alphabetical order. It starts with acrobatics, but one of them is going to be investigation. And you are simply going to click on investigation. And it'll roll it over on the right-hand side for me to see.
This is in the character sheet?
Yes, in the character sheet. If you look on the left, you should see stats. It should say dexterity. Yeah. And then in the boxes immediately to the right of that, you should see.
She got it.
Oh, okay. 10. Yeah. So I think as you're looking around, you have a moment of panic as you realize that there is nothing that's sturdy on this boat anymore. Everything is falling apart. At first you look at the mast and you're like, oh, maybe I could like tie myself to the mast. That looks like something that's stable. Maybe that'll not fall apart. And then like as you're thinking that, the mast sort of creaks and falls over in front of your eyes. Looking around, you see all these people just sort of running around chaotically. And let's jump back to you. Where were you when you got your letter?
I was at home in Sonera. I was just finishing up cooking dinner, which I did most nights for my family. And I got this letter, and I went to a quiet corner. I opened it.
Mhm.
I stood there for a good minute, just staring at it. Couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm gonna get
Um,
out of here.
And you were excited to leave.
I was excited. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. How did your parents feel about it?
My parents thought I should stay home and
Mhm.
keep helping out with the family.
But you were fine leaving.
I was ready to leave. Yeah.
Did they forbid you from going?
They tried to,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to convince them this was a order from somebody higher than them
Mm-hmm.
that I had to leave.
Nice. That's great. So how did you? So you would have traveled overland for quite some time. Did you travel by yourself, or with a caravan, or with a group of friends? I don't know. Like what? How did you travel?
Um, I went on my own,
Mhm.
and since
Cutting.
it was such a long journey, I did have to stop a few times on the way and
Mhm.
hunt some things, hunt some dinner,
Mhm.
make a few camps along the way. But
Yeah. Did you
I
stick
made
to
it.
the roads mostly, or did you just travel straight through the woods?
I did a little bit of both.
Mhm.
Sometimes I stayed on the road, and sometimes I knew I had to go foraging for something in the woods.
Wonderful. Yeah. So you took a long time to get there. So you're probably going to be the last one to arrive on the floating city of Terra Vest. Beautiful. I love it. And Selexa, uh, Back to the Future. This boat is falling out of the sky. Oh my God! What are you gonna do?
Alexa is she is like grabbing with one hand onto some kind of like, I don't know, railing or whatever's right next to her, and with her other hand she's
Mhm.
like, she has these kind of like she's wearing these kind of like silky scarves that are kind of like wrapped around her neck, and at this point they're like flying off of her, like just absolutely like everywhere, and she's trying to like gather them up and not lose them.
Mhm.
And she's gonna try and look to see like shit's falling apart everywhere. She wants to
Yes.
see if she can tell, is there anything that's like imminently going to break that's going to make things worse.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
like what's going to fall off the boat next that's really going to fuck us over.
Absolutely. That's another investigation check. Let's do it.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. In the middle of this, in the middle of the second floor of the ship, there is or the first I don't know what you call it, the first basement, whatever, the middle floor of the ship. There is a place where there's like this giant seat, and normally a spellcaster is sitting in that seat and using their magic to power the ship to flight.
Mhm.
That spellcaster is dead. And the seat has like sort of this place in the back that has this weird magical component. Roll a Arcana check for me.
Hmm.
Yeah. So with the 21, yeah, it's a weird magical component. It's called Earth's Blood. It's this weird material that comes from mostly Abarak. It's sort of this glowy blue substance that they were also using to power the ship. And you can see that all of the vials of it in the back are used up. There might be more somewhere else, but the spellcaster was supposed to replace them and didn't.
Okay. So she's going to basically like look around to anybody who she can see, anybody who's in earshot, and
Mhm.
just like basically like shriek, excuse me, over there, we need some more Earth's blood. It's right over there, right? Can somebody please get the Earth's blood in there right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Roll persuasion. It's more like panicked persuasion, but I'll take persuasion. Yeah, I think everyone's just running around like their chicken with their head cut off. There's just like too much chaos right now, and like there's roaring as the wind is rolling past you. I think your mouth gets covered by one of your scarves at one point, and so like, yeah, excuse me, I need to, it's that sort of thing. And so there's just like chaos running everywhere. If you want this problem to solve it, you're gonna have to do it yourself.
Okay. So uh she is going to um she's going to look around in the area of the
Mhm.
seat to see if
Yeah.
there's any like storage near there. Like, is
Mm-hmm.
there like any kind of like chest or bunker or hatch or anything that would
Yeah,
be
there's a
placed there?
big heavy chest.
Okay. Is it locked?
Yes.
Um, she is going to she's going to draw her dagger and try and force it like in the crack and see if she can force the chest open.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be a strength check.
Okay.
We can call it athletics if you're proficient. If not, don't worry about it.
Sure, athletics.
Yeah, a natural one does not, in fact, successfully break open the chest. And again, we're gonna have our little flashback moment with you. So I think you're already there. I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, but your parents probably paid for you to get here as fast as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And so you've been on the island of Terra Vest for several days now. What does that feel like? How does it feel to be here? Is this a cool place to be? Is this a bad place to be? What does it feel like?
Can you tell me anything about the island or what I might have seen?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly the highest technology island you've ever seen. They've got water wheels that are sort of constantly working in motion to keep this place afloat. They've got pads that you can stand on that will elevate you. They have got like permanent levitate spells cast on them so that you can get to higher floors. There's all these buildings, sort of one built on top of another. There's grand squares and glittering palaces. It's pretty extravagant. But there's also sort of like a functional side of things. The Tawana Empire was pretty corrupt, certainly towards the later years. So the capital of the empire, which was turned into Terra Vest, was also their sort of equivalent of Las Vegas for a little while as well. So there's like an opulence there that's a little bit like grotesque or not appealing in some ways, but very shiny and very nice. And they're trying to tone it down and turn it from opulence to elegance. Mixed success so far. But there's also libraries full of texts. There's a congress of historians right now that are trying to collect a history of the Shimmering Seas, and that's sort of one of the big projects going on right now. So there's a lot of those sorts of people around. How does Celexa
So Celexa was like she had been expecting or like preparing herself for some kind of like backwater. Like she what was feeling so indignant at having to leave Sonera, and she and at a very inconvenient time for her social life. And so she was just kind of like brooding and upset about this like whatever stupid like hick place that she was being sent to, and just had zero expectations of it. And when she got here, yes, she was surprised, but she's also now like finds it upsetting for a different reason. I mean, she, for one thing, she just kind of like is still wants she still wants to brood, so she's looking for excuses. But for another, she's just like she finds herself feeling intimidated, which is not a feeling that she's used to. That's very strange and alienating for her, and she like keeps trying to like go up to people and like talk to them, and being given the cold shoulder, which is like, what is going on? And so she is feeling like way annoyed. She's really annoyed at what's going on, and she's annoyed that at the way that she's being treated, and she's extra annoyed that she was wrong about what to expect.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think one of the people that you are given the cold shoulder by is like actually the ambassador from Sunera, who like should be your representative, but like to him you're this nobody. Like who the heck cares about you? You know.
Right.
And then there's this new group called the Order of Starlight. Right? They're like a new. They're technically a peacekeeping task force, but every time you see them, they're training for battle. Which take that for what you will. Maybe that's what a peacekeeping task force needs, but that's how they're training. But the new recruits there are like there's this one, Urza Tidebreaker, right? And she's also from Sunera. And you just go up and chat with her one time, and she just like, yeah, how many people have you killed?
I mean, I've I've been taking fencing classes for years.
Fencing's good. Fencing's good. And she pulls out like two massive swords, like swords that are way too big to be like one-handed swords, but she's holding one in each hand, and she starts spinning them at once. And she says, "Yeah, so you ever like get in a fight with like more than one person at a time?"
I I really don't think that I have any business getting into fights. I don't see why I would ever have to do that.
Oh, I see. You're one of those.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not like you know me.
Well, fighting's fun, okay?
I'll have to take your word for it.
No, like I mean, not like a fight, like not like one-on-one. That's boring. It's got to be like 1v8, you know, like good fair odds, right? That's what you need. And then it's like then you're like in the heat of battle. Have you ever been in the heat of battle? You can like all those decisions matter so much. There's just that moment, and everything just sort of comes together, and like it focuses you so deep. You don't know what I'm talking about at all, do you?
Not exactly, but I feel like if I were in that situation, fair would be the last thing I would want.
Oh God, you are so. I don't know what the word is. Boring? Yeah, you're boring. I'm sorry. You're boring. I'm gonna go. Bye. And she turns and walks away. Mainly, I would like to apologize to you for that. I hope you don't mind. If you're watching, I apologize. Excellent. um, so yeah, and there's a couple other people that you meet. And I think one of the first people to be nice to you at all is an elven woman who grew up in Abarak, which is typically the home of kobolds and dwarves, but there are, of course, all sorts of people in all these places. And her name is Professor Saxoli Recha. And so she speaks to you and says, "Oh, you're one of those people that the Kava wants."
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I wouldn't be here otherwise.
Mm.
Yeah, how do you know about us?
Oh well, sorry. I'm Professor Saxoli Recha. Um, and well, I'm the lead scientist around here, so I help out with everything and make sure that everything sort of runs smoothly.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
It is. It can very well be, and it's a rewarding experience to be in the know on everything, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, uh-huh. Yeah, uh-huh.
Mhm.
So this place is I mean, it's like pretty flashy and stuff, I guess. I mean, I know there's like
Thank you.
I guess it's kind of flashy, but like it's not like that great, right? Like there's got to be uh, some kind of like crummier parts of town, or it's probably not really as nice as it looks.
Oh yes, absolutely true. There's all sorts of things in this city, this grand new city. It's small, but it has the room within it for multitudes, and we can learn from all walks of life. It is not just the glittering side of things that is uh, always the best to focus on. Sometimes you must deal with the seedy underbelly. You must come to learn. And you can study from what others are doing and how they react and understand something that means more. I'm rambling. I apologize. What did you say your name was?
Oh, I don't think I did. But I since you asked, I'm Celexa.
Greetings, Alexa. You can call me Sexoli.
Hi, Sixoli. So Sully, I don't suppose you know I don't. They put me in this like kind of uh s- uh. They put me in this room in this like building, and I don't know. I don't suppose you know anybody I could talk to, or you could like you know set me up with a little like a suite somewhere. Is there who should I talk to about getting a real place to stay?
Oh God, they have you in Bunker C, don't they?
Yeah. I see you've heard of it. Yeah.
Yes.
What do you think I should do? Who can I? Somebody's got to have a nice place around here. They'd be willing to let me stay in.
And she pauses for a second. Roll a persuasion check. Well, Oathkeeper Roland is kind of adamant that you guys stay there, but I do have a position open. You could come work for me as my assistant, just for a little while until you're needed for other duties. But something like that. The rooms that I have in my place, well, certainly compared to Bunker C, they are palatial.
Palatial. Well, that sounds promising. Oh, you know what? I accept. What would you like me to when would you like me to start?
Well, why don't you go grab your stuff? Or actually, and then she pauses for a second. She turns to two people and she just says, you two. And like these two people don't necessarily work for her, they're just random people. And she just points at them and says, you two, go to Bunker C and get Selexa's stuff and bring them to my quarters. Yes? And they're like confused for a second. And then she says, now please. And she claps twice. And they just start like walking off confused. And she says, come with me. And she puts her arm around you and starts guiding you towards her rooms. Perfect. Let's jump back to the future. Timothy, hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
I think I've been better, but not bad.
Yeah, there's a boat falling out of the sky. There's a lot of dead people around you, and also some injured friends of yours and all that stuff. What are you doing right now?
Yeah. Well, I think externally I look extremely calm, and I think I'm going to assume that we're going to get out of this one because I see a lot of other people running around fixing things. I think. Well, kind of looks like fixing things. So I'm going to worry about the injured people and see how many of us can make it out of here. So I'm going to go tend to the injured and see if I can help in that way.
Absolutely. Timothy, can I first ask, what is your class?
I'm a ranger.
Perfect. Then I would like you to make a medicine check.
Sure.
Nice, with a 21. Wow, guys, you guys are rolling, in general, very high right now. Chaos Plateau and all that stuff, but in general, quite high. I hope that we get to the situation and that's not a bad thing later on when the Chaos Plateau comes back to hurt you. Yeah, so I think, let's see. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to sort of step outside of D&D for a second and create a moment for you to have happen. Why don't you, right now, tell me the name and species and anything else you want to of the person that you save. You're going to get to create an NPC right here.
Can I ask a question first?
Sure. Yeah, any question you want.
Was this ship populated by general public, or was it like soldiers and peacekeepers, or scientists, or like what?
Yeah. So it's you guys and your escort to the Kava. This is supposed to be your ship to get you to the Kava. So it's mostly you guys. There's a couple of like town guard types. We wouldn't really call them soldiers, and they're not really the Order of Starlight peacekeepers. They're like a rung below that. And then the people who fly the ship.
Okay. I'm going to look for the most important person who can likely fly the ship.
Yeah, the captain is definitely there and injured. Had their guts ripped out by whatever that thing was.
Okay. Okay, then I'm gonna go tend to Captain Fliston.
Captain, sorry, what's their name?
Fliston.
Fliston?
Liston, yeah.
Can you spell that for me?
I'll put it in the chat. Fliston.
I love it. Captain Fliston. And tell me about Captain Fliston.
Captain Fliston is an extreme looking, kind of dour looking middle-aged woman.
Mhm.
She is I would say let's put her in an elf, as an
Okay.
elf, and tall, pointy features, and she's bedecked with quite a bit of gold and silver bars on her outfit.
Excellent. Yeah. So she's either military or former military, but she's still wearing the accoutrements
Yeah.
of whatever military she was. Yeah. So you get to her, and your medicine check. You look at her, and you immediately know what's wrong. And I think you pop her arm back into place because it's broken, and then you like see some of her viscera on the floor, and you just sort of like scoop it up and put it back inside of her, and like start holding it in. And you see like suddenly this very ashen face, color starts to return to it, and then suddenly you hear her oh god, what was that? By the gods, oh my god.
I'm not sure, but I'm gonna get these guts back into you, and you're gonna get us out of this.
So there you are putting this stuff back into her, and we're gonna flash back in time for you as well. So Timothy, um, let's see, let's see, I think we're gonna do for you the first moment on Terra Vest. You've just landed there this second. How does it feel? What does it feel like to be on this massive, magnificent, glittering city?
It is remarkable. It's an amazing moment. I'm just excited to know that I could be one of the first people here to, or I could discover new species of fish off the coast. I personally have never been this far out to sea. I assume since we're in a floating island, we're pretty far out there.
Yes.
So there are all kinds of new big catches for me to land.
Yeah. So is that the first thing you do? Just go find like a corner of the island and start fishing?
Absolutely. Whenever I'm in a new place, I like to get a lay of the land by throwing a rod in.
Absolutely. Yeah. So there's sort of an awkward thing where like several parts of the island are actually really bad for fishing. Not because they should be, because the water's fine, but because like suddenly you'll throw out the rod, and then suddenly like mechanical gears will start and like start spinning in the water, and like it's just making all this noise, and like there's no fish near that. They're getting away from that. But eventually you find sort of a quiet place to throw a rod in. It's a constructed beach, so it feels a little artificial, but it is a beach nonetheless. And you're there throwing your rod in when I think someone shows up. And it's a woman in her mid 40s. She's a halfling. And she says, "Oh, hello.
Good morning.
I'm sorry, you must be new to this island. I don't know you."
I am, yes. Just got in. Yes, my name's Timothy.
Timothy. Oh, Timothy. Oh, you got my
Timothy
letter.
Do you know me?
Sorry, I was the one who sent the letter. My name is Ara Lightpath.
Oh, well, nice to meet you. I stand up because I was just kind of leisurely sitting on the beach, and I brush off the fake sand and say, "Well, nice to meet you."
Yeah, you immediately notice as you stand up that there's like behind her a little ways, so out of earshot, but there's two guards just standing there. And she looks at you and says, "Oh, please, no need for formalities. This is, I come over here to this little place to clear my thoughts every once in a while, meditate."
Oh, seems like a lovely place to do so.
Yes. So many people are going to ask over the next couple days, but I'm going to get the ball rolling, I guess, early a little bit. Do you have any idea why they picked the Kava? The ambassador from the Kava asked for Timothy Rowe.
What can I say? If you need a big fish caught, I'm your lizard born. But outside of that, I did publish some scholarly articles on the population rate and reproduction rates of freshwater fish. So maybe they need to update the information.
Right. Yeah, that must be it. Perhaps we'll see. Well, it's nice to meet you. The rest of the group should be arriving relatively soon, and Roland will debrief you all.
Thank you.
And she sort of nods and turns and walks away, leaving you to your fishing. Yeah, why don't you roll a check with your fisherman's tools?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Can you roll a check with your fishing expertise tools?
Okay, and how would I do that?
Yes. So this is a weird thing to do. So I'm going to teach it to you now, but don't worry if I have to teach it to you again. That's perfectly comfortable.
Okay.
On the left-hand side of your character sheet, you can see stats.
Yes.
If you go beneath them, you'll see something that says passive wisdom perception.
Yes.
If you see beneath that, you'll see something called fishing expertise.
Yes.
It'll then say attribute query. I want you to hit the gear next to that.
Okay.
And then it should allow you to pick a stat. It should say query attribute somewhere.
Yes.
Great. We're going to put that on intelligence for this roll.
Okay.
So for tools, it can change based on the roll. Then you're going to hit the gear again.
Okay.
And then you're going to hit fishing expertise.
Got it.
And intelligence here, this represents sort of fishing in unfamiliar territory, someplace that you haven't been before, and trying to discover specifically new species of fish, right? That's your interest primarily. Wow.
A natural 20.
Beautiful. Yes. So with a natural 20, let's create a fish for you to find. Yeah.
He's really good with fish.
Seriously.
Oh, man.
I'm gonna have to get better at fish. Yeah. So I think actually what you find is not a fish at all. Or maybe some people think of it as a fish. But what you find is a small rainbow, like it looks almost like a snake eel hybrid, but it has these sort of lizard-like wings that help it sort of steer through water a little bit and actually even skip on the ocean a little bit. And it changes color in the light. Brilliant reds and oranges, as well as greens and blues. It's a beautiful little thing. I don't think you've ever seen anything like it before.
This is a beautiful catch. Wow. First time, beginner's luck, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think a woman, an elven woman, says, "Huh, you caught one. They're very rare and supposed to be lucky."
Can you tell me more about this fish? Well, what do the locals call it?
Depends on where you are, but generally speaking, the scientific term we call it is the coatl, or the sea coatl.
Sea coatl.
Yes, the sea coatl. You're good with fishing.
Such a beautiful, striking color here. Are there any stories about this? Any legends?
Oh, many. They're seen as quite the significant creature. Some people even believe that you should. Well, bad luck to do this, so please don't do this. But some people believe that you should catch them and skin them for their brightly covered scales, and that if you drape yourselves in them, you can become invisible. But mostly it's just good luck to see them.
Well, I do feel lucky having given the chance today to catch this fish, but I think it's about time we get this poor guy back in the water, huh?
Yeah, that's a beautiful choice. What's your name? And she reaches out her hand to shake it.
Oh, I'm Timothy.
Nice to meet you, Timothy. My name is Captain Fliston.
Oh, nice to meet you. It's a pleasure. Do you ever fish out in these waters?
I love fishing, but these days mostly I sail the air.
Not many fish up there.
No, birds sometimes, but mostly we bring our own supplies. Dried fish.
All right then.
It's nice to meet you, Timothy.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll see you around.
Indeed you will. Indeed you will. So, at some point, all of you are on the island. Some of you have been there for longer than others. I think, Celexa, you've been there the longest. And Thea, you get there last. So you've been there the shortest. Just based on distances and traveling and things like that. Some of you even might have known each other a little bit in former lives, but
Can I ask a question?
please.
Have I seen any other tieflings on the island?
Yes, a couple.
Okay.
You're not unheard of,
Okay.
but you would certainly not say common.
Sure.
Okay.
But otherwise, is it
yeah.
otherwise kind of a cosmopolitan mix of races?
Yes, very much so.
Okay.
The things that are rarest is you don't see anyone from the Kava or Asimar in this case. You know that there is one because there's an ambassador from the Kava, but the ambassador tends to stay in their quarters. No one's really goes and talks to them. They actually frequently skip meetings that they're supposed to go to because they just don't view them as significant or important.
I can relate.
Yeah. So can I. And there is one other tiefling that's very prominent on the island. There's a big, it used to be a gambling hall, that was huge and extravagant. Now it's basically a bar and like hotel for guests. But he is the guy who runs the bar. And he's also a tiefling. There are others around, but those are he's sort of like the most famous one. But it is very cosmopolitan. Otherwise, you see kobolds, you see goblins, you see halflings, you see elves. You even see the occasional fox folk. You see dwarves. You see lizard folk. It's very, very full of life. So we're gonna jump forward in time. Some of you might have things that have happened during your stay here, and we can go over that. But we're gonna jump forward in time to your first meeting with Roland, Oathkeeper Roland, and he shows up in your guys' quarters. You've all been assigned quarters in storage room C, and 4 of you are there. And he sends a runner for Celexa. He doesn't seem annoyed or perturbed by it. Well, maybe he's a little annoyed or perturbed by it. He's got a perpetual scowl on his face. And you show up. Eventually, Celexa, you enter the room. And he sort of looks at the assortment of weird, odd people before him. Mostly just odd. None of you look like what he was expecting necessarily. But you see him, he's wearing sort of very fine armor, and he's got a curved sword in a sheath at his side. There's something about his bearing that just looks career military to you guys. It's just very on top of everything, and he's just very well put together. His hair is perfectly in place. It's gone white, but is coiffed perfectly and kept very short. He's not balding at all. Human. And he looks at you all. Greetings. I'm sure that you all have many questions. We will have questions for you as well. For now, I will introduce myself. My name is Roland, and I am one of the people who will be guiding you on this journey. The other one who will be helping you out a little bit on this journey, is Professor Saxoli Recha. She is around. She is officially our lead scientist, but you will all come to know her relatively quickly as being our spy master. He takes a sip of his tea.
Do I get the sense that when he's talking about the professor that he is feels one way or the other about her?
Why don't you roll an insight check?
Thank you.
With the 17, you can easily read that this is a person who understands that spies are probably the nature of the world, but does not like it. She is a necessary evil. That makes sense?
Yes.
Okay. There's much to do and much to say. I admit that we will not be able to give you as much information as I'm sure that you wish. The ambassador from the Kava has given us basically nothing. He gave us a list of 5 names and your guys' addresses and told us, get these people. They will be the first people to see the wonders of the Kava, and we are to get you there. So we have brought you here because this is where he wishes to leave from. And sorry, this is where they wish to leave from. I apologize. And that is really what we know.
I don't know how they got. I don't know how they got my address. We're unlisted.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
quite.
Did you say spy master?
Yes, she is our spy master.
Are we spies? Did I miss something here?
This is a diplomatic mission. You have been requested. We don't fully understand why they have chosen the 5 of you. We don't really have any reason why they would choose the 5 of you. You 5, as far as we can ascertain, seem perfectly normal, except for the fact that you few have been chosen.
Okay, just making sure. I've been accused of being a spy before. That wasn't fun. So I guess if it's real this time, it won't be as bad.
The professor, she's very nice. I bet the whole spy thing is probably just a title.
Well, for you guys, it certainly will be essentially pro forma. We know very little about the Kava. For those of you who were not experts in history, about 5,000 years ago, there was a small nation in the north called Tawan, and it conquered much of the lands one at a time with their powerful technology, airships and magic. They were at the time an empire of tieflings, and the regions here were much more divided, much less unified. Some would even say that it was the attack of the Tawan Empire that led to the unification, but that's merely an interpretation of history. Let's not give it too much credence. Anyway, they attacked the 5 nations of the Shimmering Seas, but the Kava were the only ones to rebuff them. They did not defeat them. They merely placed a powerful magical barrier around their country. A barrier that for 5,000 years no one could penetrate. People would go to it, they would touch it, they would try to get through it, they would try to dig below it, they would try to fly over it, they would try to power through it, and nothing would get through. And so this country remained unknown, locked in this glittering prison for 5,000 years. When the Tawan Empire fell and the Chaos Wars began, well, eventually the Kava left. They took down their shield and joined with Illumina Starborn in the helping of founding this grand accord, this attempt at making a better world. But even with the shield down, anyone who has entered their territory has been lost forever. We've had scientists go, the occasional brave adventurer will go, or foolish, depending on how you look. None have returned, save one who returned without a mind. We know nothing about them, and so we were quite surprised, even flabbergasted, when they requested the presence of 5 of you to come within their territories. Admittedly, it is something that we have been requesting for a while in the spirit of mutual cooperation, but the intention was to send experts or trade people or something, not you all. But I think that this is an opportunity that you all may be able to take good advantage of. You seem-
Advantage
Yes.
for ourselves, or for you, or both?
Well, I think it is important that we admit up front that it is in the best interest of the Grand Accord to know as much as possible about its member states. Any information that you can grant us about the Kava will be well rewarded by us. That being said, we will not be there, and it is your job to act in the best interests of us, even if that means keeping us in the dark.
Are you sure this is a good idea? She kind of like leans in towards him, and she looks pointedly over at Thea and Nova and Caliban, and she says, aren't they a little young for something like this?
And how old are you? I'm just curious, for my sake.
22.
Yeah. Celexa, isn't it?
Yeah, that's me.
No, I am not certain that this is a good idea. Next question.
What can we do to assuage your fears?
And he looks at you and he smiles and he says, well, we'll begin with some training. And he smiles, and that's where we're going to take our break.
Training montage.
Training montage.
Do-do-do-do.
Excellent. Marcus, can you take us out? Excellent.
Don't need no stinking training.
Probably not.
Oh, I'm so excited for the training. Oh my god.
Excellent. Hey everyone, welcome back. We just enjoyed our break. I enjoyed it with a cup of soothing tea for apparently my throat, which is apparently losing its voice. Already, I know, so early. Virus era. No, sorry, that's a bad joke. Yeah, if you're enjoying our content, please throw us a follow or a subscribe. I like both. Those are good things. We also have other content that you guys should feel free to check out. On Mondays at 5:30, we've got a game also taking place in the Shimmering Sea. That group of people are dealing with a fascist dictator, or at least a wannabe fascist dictator, and trying to figure out how to depose him and or assassinate him. You should go see if they can figure out how to do that. Last episode, nope, 3 episodes ago, they actually had him dying at their feet and cured him. What? Who knows? Everything's going crazy. What is going on? It was probably not the most opportune moment for that person to die, but still, it was crazy, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's going crazy. On Thursdays, we have a sort of old school-ish game, a hardcore dungeon crawl. The players just were captured by a rival company, a company of dungeon crawlers, captured in the dungeon, stole all their stuff, and imprisoned them. And then they broke free, and it was awesome. And now they want vengeance as well as to go back into the dungeon. They also owe some debts because they need to call in some favors to help break themselves out. That was stressful. And on Fridays we have Monster Hearts at that's 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Thursdays. On Fridays at 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time again, we run a game of Monster Hearts, which is not set in the Shimmering Sea, but it's super fun and sweet. It's about teenagers who are dealing with emotional problems and also are vampires. And it's a lot of fun, and they cause each other a lot of problems, and it's super cute. And they all suck as human beings. It's also horrifying. But next week they're going to a big party, and they're really nervous about it, and everyone's got like date problems and stuff like that, and it's super cute and awful, and all those sorts of things. And that's our current schedule, but stay tuned for future stuff as well. Okay. With that, back to the Shimmering Seas and the Chosen Few.
Training montage.
Training montage. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. We'll do a training montage. Right. I like it. So you guys are doing a training montage, and much of the training is physical training. They want to sort of toughen you up, get you in shape, make sure that you guys are effective, because they really don't know what's going to be thrown at you. Some of it is more stealth stuff. You're trained. Some of you are trained in reading codes, breaking codes, and the like. You're also, let's see, definitely Slixa, but probably a couple other characters are trained to read a secret coded language and trained to write in it to pass messages with spies and all that stuff. They point out immediately that probably this is going to be useless because they don't actually have any spies inside the Kava, but they do want to treat you to learning the spy language. Raise your hand if you're the sort of person who would learn the language of spies. Celexa and absolutely, yeah, Nova. Yeah, so why don't you add under your tools and proficiencies and languages, you can just add spy language. This is different than Thieves Can't, but it is definitely similar. Oh, pardon my. Oh God, I hope my enter doesn't go out. No, it's going okay. Whatever. So you can add that to your languages. You are taught that as well. Some of you are taught physical things. Most of the challenges, though, are pretty easy, right? There's sparring matches with simple things going on. Nothing really wild. It's all very controlled. At one point, you're asked to spar against some of the people who are in training to become members of the Order of Starlight, and that's a thing that's a little fun as well. Timothy, while you are doing that training, the sparring with the Order of Starlight members, I think you develop a friendship with the person that you're asked to spar against, because they don't really like violence. She's a spring Eladrin. She's got sort of that vibe of flightiness, and she's But she goes through the motions and fights with you, and then the two of you have lunch afterwards, and you sort of develop a friendship with this person. Their name is Rain, and I'm just going to let you know about that. Rain, and that is going to be your pen pal. You're going to have a pen pal named Rain. Eat that grand. Yeah, I'm 99.9% certain about that, so I'm just going to make that canon now. If I'm wrong, well, then I'm wrong. But, you know, we'll retcon that, okay? If I'm wrong. So all this stuff is going well, but Professor Saxoli really wants to question you each individually. And you're each brought in one at a time to Professor Saxoli Recha's office. And she asks you everything about your life. She gets your entire backstories. She's very pressing for information and wants to know everything, like who was your best friend in school, who was the first person that you ever kissed, who was this, who was that, what is this, what is that. Like, she's looking for any connections that she can possibly find. Who would just basically be open and tell her everything? Yeah. Who immediately tries to hide things from her? Does anyone try to hide things from her? No? Okay. Yeah, who's just like not a good talker and therefore wouldn't talk a lot. Fair enough. Just sort of checking in, seeing what's happening. Yeah. So she like gets a lot of information from you guys. But as far as she can tell, there's very little connection. Some of you guys have met before, right? Though we've some of you know each other at least at a distance. Yeah, let's establish some of those relationships. Thea and Celexa, do you guys do you guys know each other, or Thea, are you just familiar with Celexa? What's going on there?
I think I know of Celexa and her family.
Yeah, what do you think about Celexa and her family?
I think they're maybe a little bit snobby people, or yeah, things kind of handed to them, and you know, I know who they are, but I don't necessarily have respect for them and their status.
Yeah, and Celexa, what about you? Do you know who Thea is, or is she just like?
I have never heard of her.
I love it. Oh, perfect. That's great. And then I think that there might be a little bit of a connection between Timothy and Caliban.
Yeah.
Do the two of you guys know each other? Are you familiar with each other? Are you familiar with each other's work? What'd you say?
So Timothy, can you tell me a little bit more about what you do? So you're a fisherman?
Yeah, I'm more of a like marine biologist, anthropologist. I study local tribes and you know, various other kind of fishing legends. But yeah, I don't like I don't commercial fish. It's more of like catch and release and study.
So I've done my own. Caliban's done his own like sort of private research on local tribes, and may have come across you in that process, because his god is basically the god of the old tribes, and or gods of the
There's
old
a whole
tribes.
thing there. Don't worry about that for now.
Yeah.
But there's a whole thing there.
But yeah, and then my family's shop is basically on the water, so might have seen you around a couple times, but mostly in passing.
Yeah, probably. I'm sure we've exchanged some kind words here and there, swapped some stories.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
But I don't think we need a rivalry, right?
No.
Okay.
Caliban avoids rivalries like the plague.
Oh, great. Perfect.
No, Timothy's just so easygoing.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, Timothy's much older, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. How old is Caliban?
19.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Timothy's in his 40s.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. So there's no reason why you would be like friends or anything like that. You're just
No.
Excellent. Wonderful.
Just some dude.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah. Nice. So there's a training montage, but it's not really a bonding montage, right? You guys are all working, but you're not really getting to know each other super well necessarily. You're all sort of working in parallel, and it's not really a bonding experience necessarily. because I don't think montages make good bonding experiences. I think they make useful narrative devices, but not good bonding devices. So one day, though, you are all in one of the rooms of Professor Sexoli, and she is leering down on you and teaching you about sort of standard creatures from various parts of the world. And she takes you to the menagerie. And there's a menagerie in this part of the world. It's sort of old-fashioned, and they're probably going to get rid of it soon for reasons that, like, it's not really a thing that we need. But for now, at least, it's a useful training place for you guys. These beautiful dirt paths that sort of flow around, and then these cages of metal bars with sort of just a ceiling on top of them to pen these things in if they have wings, but if not, they just leave them open. And sort of these sandy dirt places inside. So she's going through and she's teaching about these things, and she's teaching about all of the creatures that there are star signs for, and sort of walking through each of them, each of the stars in the night sky, and teaching you about the various types of creatures. Who is really responding to this lesson about life? Is anyone really digging it? Yeah, Timothy just is loving this lesson. Yeah, awesome. Thea likes this. Who's bored? Who thinks that this is a waste of their time? Perfect. I love it. Yeah. So everything's going bored. I would like Nova. I would like you to roll a perception check. Yeah.
That's it.
Nice. So yeah, so you're walking around and you look and you notice that one of the cages is empty.
There's a cage that's empty.
What? No, there isn't.
Yes, there
Just pay
is.
attention.
It's right there.
No, it's, and she like turns and looks, and she like furrows her brows.
What's
And,
supposed to be in there?
an onkeg? Do you know what an onkeg is, girl? It's from your region. Shouldn't you know creatures from your own region?
What do you want?
Someone who pays attention in class.
Mm.
And as she says that, you hear and feel, more importantly, erupting sand. And the earth is shaking beneath you guys. And
Uh-oh.
emerging from the dirt and rubble is this massive beetle-like creature that just erupts from the sand and looks deeply menacing towards you all. And with that, we're going to learn how to do combat.
Woo!
Let's get this in as we can. So, if I'm on the right page, I'm on the right page. Good. Let's move this thing towards you guys a little bit. Nope, it's not enable fog or this map. Cool. So I'm not going to do a full map for this because I don't think it's necessary. But so these are the 5 of you. These are your tokens and all that good stuff. What I want you to do, and this is a little bit of a weird process to do, but you're going to need your character sheet and you're going to need to click on your token. So I want you to click on your token first so that it is selected. You should be able to move it up and down with your arrow keys. And then open your character sheet and then click where it says initiative. If this goes correctly, it should add your initiative to the turn order. Caliban got a 1. Nova got a 19. It did not add it to turn order. That might be my fault, Nova, but I will add it now.
Where is?
It's almost in the center top of the page.
Oh, okay.
Tia got a 22. Nice. I am still missing. Let's see. Caliban selects Nova. Tia, I'm missing Timothy.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time opening my character sheet.
It might be
Page.
already open.
Yeah, maybe.
No, it's not. It would be on there. Click on someone else's.
Sorry.
Sometimes if you have it minimized, it won't open from there. So look if you have it minimized on the page. You can minimize your character sheet, by the way,
Does it?
by double-clicking next to your name, and it becomes see-through, so that you can see the map. You can easily jump back and forth between the map and your token and your character sheet.
Okay.
You can also make a pop-out page, right?
Yes, you can also make it a pop-out page.
Awesome.
I admit that I tend to tell you how to do the things that I like, things that you should like.
Double click on it.
Alright. Okay, sorry about that.
No worries.
Inspiration?
No, initiative.
Initiative.
Nice, and that worked. Hey, beautiful. That worked for everyone but Nova. Nova, I'm going to guess that I had my settings wrong.
I think I just didn't. I clicked on the wrong thing.
That
We're
makes me
good.
feel even better, but there's also a chance that I have my settings wrong. Because if I have the settings wrong, then that won't work. Excellent. Cool. So this thing erupts from the dirt, and immediately Professor Sexoli says, try and contain it. I'll get help. And she turns and runs away to go find you assistance. Thea, you are the first person up. Any idea what you want to do? This giant thing erupts from the earth.
Okay. I think I'm gonna take out my bow and arrow and shoot at it.
Yeah, why don't you take a shot at this thing?
Yeah. Then what do I do?
Yeah, on your character sheet, in this almost the exact center of it, you should have your weapons should be there. Let me. Oh shoot, you might not because I might have forgotten to set them up. Hold on, let me check. How did I do? I did not do this. Hold on 1 second. You want to use your bow and arrow? Is that what you said?
Yeah, yeah.
Hold on. It's a short bow or a long bow?
Longbow.
Great. Great. It's not working. Hold on 1 second. Longbow. Give me 1 second. I apologize. Okay. That should work. Great. You should now see a thing that says longbow in the middle of your character sheet, where it says attacks and spellcast.
Yeah.
Great. Click on that. Okay, so you pull your longbow back, but you get a critical miss. Why do you do so badly? Is this like your first time dealing with like a sudden crisis or something?
This is the first time I've seen a thing like this.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of freaked out.
Yeah, it's this giant insect-like creature that just crawls out of the ground, and I think you see like acid sort of fall from its jaws and spittle towards you. Do you want to move or anything like that as well?
I'm gonna back up as far as I can.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna move all of you guys down a little bit so that we have some room to back up. Okay, and then you're gonna back up. You want to back up as far as you can? You said.
Yeah, yeah.
Great. There you go. Nova, you're up next.
I charge immediately right in front of it.
Go for it.
And I attack it.
Yeah, make an attack.
All right.
A 23 with a greatsword. Wow, that definitely hits. Roll damage. Okay, so the way this works, yeah, sorry, this is confusing system. Sorry, it's once you learn it, it's very easy, but you have to learn it. So once you have rolled to hit in the chat where it says greatsword, if you click where it says greatsword, it'll roll damage.
Okay.
In the chat, perfect. 9 slashing damage. Yeah. So tell me about your greatsword. Where did you get it? What does it look like?
My greatsword is old and rusted, and it's a family heirloom that I got from my great-great-grandfather who was in the rebellion.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Yeah, so it's this old rusted sword, but still sharp. So you charge forward and you just slash at this massive insect-like thing, and you see that like it's covered in like this plating that makes it look thick and heavy, but you just hack into it with this greatsword and slash through it. and you make a giant gash in its metal plating, and you see sort of this weird, thick, green, viscous blood sort of pour out. It does not like that experience at all, and it is going to turn the tables by attacking at you. Let's see how this works. Does a 12 meet or beat your armor class?
No. But I do have a special stars ability where it
Excellent.
fire.
Yes. So you want to roll that 1d4 for me?
Sure. Can I just put that in the? Oh, let's see.
Yes. If you want to type it into the chat, the way you
Okay.
do that is you type /, and then you type roll, and then space 1d4, and that'll work for any die roll you want to make.
Okay.
Four fire damage. Yeah. So what does this star sign look for you like for you? This thing like bites at you, and then what you?
My whole body just erupts into like searing kind of flames.
Mm-hmm.
Not very hot.
Yeah. So it's just like this aura of fire that just randomly appears around Nova, and like this. She goes Nova, and this creature just like rears its head back in like pain. And fails to do anything effective to you. That means Timothy, you're up.
All right, I am going to move forward, and I'm going to throw my net, or I'm going to try to catch it in a net, because ideally I'd like to keep this thing alive.
Yeah, I think that's a great call. Cool. Why don't you roll with your net to try and capture this?
Let's see if that works. Did that work?
Yeah, that absolutely works. So a net, you rolled an 8 though, unfortunately, and that is not enough to capture this. So you throw the net forward, but it actually takes the opportunity to skitter sideways a little bit and get out of the way. And so you get like one of its legs, but it just starts like scratching at the net, trying to destroy it, because it's not going to keep it. It's not. You didn't get a good enough position to keep it locked down.
Okay.
Excellent. Anything else you want to do on your turn? Probably not.
Nope.
Celexa, you're up.
Hey.
Oh, by the way, just for clarity's sake, John, we have not spoken about this, or Timothy, we have not spoken about this, but I run nets the same way that Pokemon runs Pokeballs. The more injured a monster is, the easier it is to capture it.
Great. Okay.
So Alexa, you're up.
Okay. Alexa is like a little. I mean, everybody's a little freaked out. So Alexa's definitely a little freaked out. She is. She has like a moment of panic. And then she gets an idea, and she, you see her like, she bites her lip, and a little like trickle of blood runs down the corner of her mouth, and she like grunts a little bit, and she points her finger in the direction of the Ankeg, and a sort of like shadow goes to swirl around it, kind of like trying to like cloak over the Ankeg. She's casting Bane.
I love it.
And
does it get a wisdom saving throw?
One moment. That is charisma.
Oh, it's a charisma saving throw. Oh,
yeah.
Then you are very likely to succeed. What is your spell save DC?
Spell save DC.
It'll be on your spells page on the top right.
Great. 14.
So unfortunately for you, this Ankeg got really, really lucky. And so the blood that is dripping down your lip is not a powerful enough foci to curse this thing and drive it insane. It sort of casts off the spell and then sort of turns towards you as if it has a grudge seeing the magic used against it.
Can I use a bonus action? So as a bonus action, she's going to so actually she'd like to move. She's going to sort of like step behind Caliban, and she's going to say, get it, and it's she's going to throw him a bardic inspiration die.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Caliban, you know how bardic inspiration dice work?
Is it only for attacks and ability checks?
It is for attacks and ability checks. That includes spell attacks. That includes other things as well. We haven't discussed this yet, but because it's been a while since I've had a bard in a campaign, despite the fact that I myself am a musician, people tend to avoid playing bards. I don't know why. But occasionally I am comfortable. We'll negotiate a little bit, but occasionally I'm comfortable using it as a negative modifier on someone making a saving throw from one of your spells.
Oh, so that's okay.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So it's me now.
Mhm.
Okay. So Selixa gets behind me. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, okay. Where? And I sort of look around a little bit, just sort of like dazed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where's the cage?
Yeah. So it has burrowed a hole through the bottom of the floor of the cage. Let's. I'll just add the cage to the map here.
Oh, there's a hole in the bottom of the floor of the cage, like it went underneath the cage.
Mhm.
That's
Yep.
how it got out.
Yep.
Well, then that doesn't really work.
Yes, it's like no one thought burrowing creature, dirty ground. It can burrow through the ground and escape.
Do I see any other? All the other cages are occupied.
Yes.
Are they all locked? From what I can see.
They seem to be.
Okay.
You'd have to like investigate to find out, but they seem.
Okay. Then I'm just gonna guiding bolt. Straight up. So that is. You see me sort of reach underneath my shirt, and then when I pull my hand out, my hand is swirling with this sort of blue light, and then I throw my hand out, and a sort of whirring ball of light energy just sort of goes soaring toward the Ankeg. And so, do I just press the spell?
You should just be able to press the spell, and it should work.
Okay, that's 18 to hit.
That's an 18 to hit. Do you want to use your Bardic Inspiration to add a d6 to that?
No.
Okay, good call. It still hits. In the chat, you should be able to click on the word Guiding Bolt, and that'll roll the damage.
Level 1. 14 radiant damage.
14 radiant damage.
And then whoever goes to try to hit that the next time has advantage.
Nice. So let's put a heart token on it. Okay.
And then I'm gonna Caliban's gonna Selix's just right behind him. Yeah, he's just gonna stay right where he is.
Okay. Yeah. Do you like stand just in front of Selixa protectively?
Yeah. I mean, Selixa gets behind me, and I'm like, I guess. Yeah. No. He sort of looks a little bit like what, and then he sort of assumes the role. He's like, this is what she wants from me. Okay. Yeah. I'll play the part.
Absolutely.
Of the mighty heroic figure. And so that's what he portrays himself as.
Yeah. I would like you to roll an insight check. Yes, an insight check, my dear Caliban.
Me? Okay. Sure. Insight. Those are spells.
Okay.
Nope.
Yeah, the creature's pointing around wildly, and you don't really see any purpose or intent behind its actions. After Caliban, though, Thea, it is your turn again. You've backed up rather substantially. Everyone else is sort of engaging the creature, but you still have your bow, and this attack has advantage against it.
So, can I shoot it from this far away?
Absolutely, yeah. The range that you have is insane. Okay.
So from where I am, I try to have a steadier hand and do another shot at it. So.
Well, that's a better shot. You go from a critical failure to a critical hit. Yeah. So click on where it says longbow. Let's just see how much damage you do. Right. So that's 11 damage. Now, on top of this is also technically a sneak attack because this creature is engaged and you are a rogue.
Okay.
Right. So you should have a thing that's a sneak attack on your character sheet. You're going to need to click that twice because of the critical attack. It doubles. So that is 11 plus 4 is 15 plus 2 is 17 damage with this beautiful sneak attack.
Woo!
That was spectacular. I love it. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see, how much is that? Plus 17. Okay, but it's still going.
Ooh.
This thing is very furious, but it doesn't seem to be focused on you, Thea. Nova, you're up.
I attack it again.
Yeah, roll to hit.
All right.
Ooh, an 8 with a great sword. Last time you had a good, like a really good thing, and you slushed through it, and you see that Thea's arrow that she just shot from way back there went right into the same crack that you made in the skull plate of this thing before. But this time you try and scratch at it, but the armor just sort of it twists and turns, and it knocks your sword away.
Oh no.
Anything else you wish to try to do?
Could I also take a 5-foot step?
Yes. No, you cannot. Sorry.
Nope.
5-foot
Okay.
step is a Pathfinder term. I'm sorry, it took me a second to convert that to D&D. No, disengaging from a monster requires an action, not a movement.
Not disengaging, just moving in front of it more.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah, you can move. You can stay within its threat range as long as you want.
Okay.
You can move your full movement in its threat range. You could run a circle around this thing if you wanted.
You
Okay.
should definitely do that.
Yeah, later. I'll save that one for later.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. So you move to block its path in front of you more. That's a wise decision. It looks unhappy that you've blocked its path, but it is going to move around you.
Oh.
Technically, you are still in its threat range. Let's see. Caliban, you hit it. Celexa, you cast spells at it. It doesn't like either one of you. I need both of you to make dexterity saving throws as it leans back and spits acid at Celexa and Caliban.
Question.
Mhm.
Do I get an attack of
Yep,
opportunity?
No, as long as it stays within your threat range, you don't get an attack of opportunity. It's just a
Okay.
big creature, so it's engaging a lot of things at once.
Okay.
Ooh, wow. 19 and a 20.
Nice.
From the two
Well,
of us.
those are successful dex saves. So you guys take half this damage.
I grab Celexa and sort of roll off to the side.
Yeah, so this thing just leans back and spits acid at the two of you guys. The acid sort of comes towards you when Caliban just dives and covers Celexa's body with his own and rolls over to the side. You each take 2 points of acid damage as this thing spits acid at you. It's
How
not
do we
looking
take
good.
off health here?
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways of doing it, but I think the best way of doing it is if you click on your token, you should see your health is in the green box. And you should be able to just type in -2 and then hit return, and then it'll do the math for you.
Oh. The loading bar. That's fun.
Did that work for both of you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you'll note that I also have turned on your green health bars, so you can see what percentage of your health you're at.
Thank you.
And everyone should be able to see everyone's green health bars. If there's ever mistakes or problems, just let me know. I'll try and fix them. Sometimes I'll get it right, sometimes I'll get it wrong, but broadly, that's the plan at least. Okay, that was the Ankhead's turn. It comes forward and spits at Caliban and Celexa. It seems to really not like Caliban and Celexa right now. Timothy, what's up?
Do I still have a hold on my net, or did I completely throw it away?
I think you had to throw it away to try and get around a large creature.
Okay. Can I scoop it up and try again?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I will do that. So I will go ahead and pick it up and move a little bit closer to it, perhaps.
Yep.
And I'll give it a throw.
Yeah, take that shot. Oh, much better this time. Yeah. So this creature is absolutely caught in the net. And so, yeah, it is stuck there right now. It has disadvantage on all attacks outside of the net. There's very little it can do except for trying to break free of the net. Its movement seems restricted at this point, or at least from an obvious perspective, it is restricted. Let's see what happens. Celexa, what do you want to do? This thing just spit acid at you. Now there's a net around it.
So, okay. And she sees the net flying at the creature, right? I think she's still she wants this thing like away from her. as much as possible.
Mhm.
And net or no net,
Mhm.
she is going to try and do something about it.
Okay.
And so she her eyes are like kind of yellowish gold, right?
Okay.
But for a moment they flash like red. They're like an intense red.
Mhm.
And she like chants a few words, it's kind of like grating, sing-songy kind of voice.
Mhm.
And she is going to attempt to cast Dissonant Whispers on the
Ooh, beautiful. Can you click on that spell for me?
yeah. This one we had to put in manually, so I don't know if it's gonna work. But
We'll find out if I put it in correctly.
all
Or if you
right,
did. You did put it in correctly.
let's try it.
Let's see what happens. Did it go through?
I clicked on it like I normally would.
Great. Well, then it did not go through. Great.
Okay.
So no, we didn't do it correctly. That happens sometimes.
This is a wisdom saving.
Okay, great.
Sorry, it says cast at what level? No, let me try this.
Level 1. There it goes. Hey, look at that. Wisdom save, DC 14 for half damage. Okay, good to know. Wisdom saving throw. Wow, I'm rolling really well.
All right.
For the wisdom save. Sorry about that.
Fine.
Yeah, but that's still half damage. And does the effect still happen if it succeeds or no?
No. It. Oh wait. Sorry.
And
no, it does not have to move away.
okay, good to know. Nika, you're having a funky relationship with your mic. I don't know why, but sometimes you're with your mic and sometimes you're not.
That's weird. Okay. All right.
Now
I'll
you're
try and
perfect.
I'll bring my computer a little closer here.
It was broadly fine most of the time. It was just for 2 seconds there or whatever.
Okay.
Okay, excellent. Cool. Yeah. So this thing looks very panicked, and I think it's going to use a special move to make a mad slash at Celexa.
No, it does take the half damage though, right?
Yes, it does. Absolutely, it does. So Celexa, this thing is trying to attack at you.
Oh shit.
It gets a natural 20.
You can do that not on its turn?
Yes, it can.
Whoa.
So let's see what happens here. Celexa.
Well, Celexa may have had a short career.
Well, we'll find out. That's 6 damage.
Okay. She I believe now would be an appropriate time for a swear word.
Feel free. So this thing gores you with like its mandible. It just reaches forward and just slashes you with the mandible, clearly angry at you in particular. Like this thing is very focused on you. It's like you are not the person who has done the most damage to this thing, but this creature is mad at you for some reason.
Oh, damn it! Fuck.
And as it gores you, it dies.
Oh.
That's its last thing that it gets to do. That was its death throw, Evan.
Okay.
For
Thing.
and as it dies,
Poor thing
shrinks down, not to a small size, but to a smaller size.
That's weird.
That's really strange.
Do they normally do that?
Sorry. And I reached down to Celexa and Cure Wounds. For Cure Wounds. Cure Wounds song. Level 1. 12 points of healing.
Wow.
What?
Oh.
Back up to full.
Highly effective.
Yeah. And
So,
if
Celexa,
we
you
were
look
in
down,
combat,
you've
could
got
make an
this
attack.
mandible like stuck in you a little bit still because it died biting you, essentially, right? And I think the Caliban just sort of reaches down and like pulls it out, and you look down at your wound, and then he just puts his hand on your wound, and your skin starts knitting itself back together. It's a very weird feeling.
Oh my god. I think I'm dying. Oh, God, like There's
You're
blood all over my arm. This was really nice armor. Oh my. My dad's gonna kill me.
I'm so sorry. You poor thing. Are you are you feeling all right otherwise?
I just can't. I just can't even. I can't talk about it right now. I
Have
can't.
any of
That
you
was disgusting. That was
Have any
so
of you
gross.
seen anything like this before? This creature?
Apparently, I should have seen this creature before.
No. Oh, I mean, she thinks you should have, but it's not common.
I'm gonna go find what's her name? The lady.
This,
Yeah,
Sexually.
there was one time when I traveled to a feast in on the other side of Sonera, and this guy I met, he like took me to this giant tarantula fight, and that was like that was pretty much the same kind of thing.
It's dope.
I would like to look around to see if I can find any evidence of like foul play, like someone let this thing out and made it big and tried to kill us.
Yeah. Why don't you roll? Well, where are you looking? Are you looking at the creature? Are you looking at the cage? Are you looking at the dirt that was dug?
I would like to look at the entrance of the cage and see how it got out and if there's any strange like tracks near it.
Yeah. Why don't you roll a survival check for me?
Okay.
While she's doing that, can I be looking for Sixoli?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
And just to resolve that quickly, you see Sixoli coming with like 12 armed guards, like returning.
We're okay, I think.
Yeah, with the survival check. Yeah, you see footprints that lead right up to the side of the cage. Sort of a back entrance to the cage, actually, where like they would go in for feedings and things like that, like zookeeper type things. And you see a pile of some sort of like dried meat that probably was used for food. And I think you notice inside of that there is this broken. It almost looks like a rock, but it's not very hard. It's sort of a fluorescent blue in color, and it's relatively small. And Professor Sexoli comes over and looks at this thing. It's so big, and you guys handled it, and handled it well. That was impressive. I mean, I would have liked to have captured it alive at least, but well, the points that you certainly tried to do that. That's impressive. That's impressive work. Oh.
I called her over to look at what I found.
This is fascinating. I don't think I've ever seen a substance quite like this before. And she just like sort of like reaches into her robes and pulls out like a glass vial, and it's filled with some sort of red liquid, and she pauses and looks at it for a second and like, I can make more later. And she just sort of tosses it over her shoulder and just scoops up this pile of like dried food with this weird pebble in it, and like doesn't want to touch it herself. She sniffs it. I have no idea what that smell is. I've never smelled anything like that. I must get back to my lab.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, do you have a question?
Oh yeah, there's scientisty stuff.
Yes. Right. Things that you would not understand.
I found it.
For which I am very grateful. And she turns and says, Celexa, come now. We have work to do. And she starts walking away.
Celexa trails after her, and she's like, "That I can't believe you said it was fascinating. That thing basically bit me in half."
Yes, all sorts of disasters can happen in the face of scientific progress, you know. She's just eagerly looking at this thing. Not sympathetic at all to your experience. There's still this body of this creature here as Lexa walks away.
Yeah, can I? I'd like to roll to nature maybe
Mhm.
to take a look and maybe examine if there's something off about it. What I know.
Absolutely. Roll a nature check.
All right, and I have beasts as my favorite
At
enemies.
advantage.
Okay, and is it advantage or just +2?
Oh, plus
yeah.
2. Sorry, you're right.
Cool. No.
Oh no, it's at advantage. No, you trust yourself. I was right the first time. I'm always
Alright.
right.
Did that come through?
Yes, it did.
Yeah,
A 9. Yeah. So in Oddkeg, it's just a creature from part of the world that you're not really familiar with, right? It's a creature from Prion. You're from Chalestra. It's a sandy creature. You've never studied these things before. Sometimes you can make intuitions about these things, but it's a little out of your comfort zone in some ways.
Okay.
Anyone else want to take a look at it?
Can I look at its tracks, sort of where it was going? Try to figure out what it was trying to do. Why, if it was trying to escape, if it was trying to do anything particular. Would this be a
Yeah.
survival check or?
Yes, please make a survival check.
Okay. 25.
Nice. Yeah. So it was not trying to escape. It was definitely burrowing towards you guys. You can see sort of the tunnel that it burrowed for itself. And it burrowed towards you guys and seemed to specifically go after you guys. It was definitely targeting you guys.
Anyone in particular, or just?
It's, I mean, the burrowing, its tracks just lead to you guys as a group.
Right.
Anything about anyone in particular would have to be like something that you discovered or intuited during combat.
Right. I didn't attack anyone in particular.
Thanks.
Alicia's not there.
I guess we'll never know.
I guess we'll never know who it was trying to kill.
I turn to whoever's. I guess everyone's here except Celexa, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
I say I don't trust that scientist.
No. There's plenty that can be learned through application of the sciences.
Sure. Isn't she also the spy?
That's true.
Point.
Just saying.
It's a good point.
Do you think she'll tell us what it is when she finds out?
I think she's disposing of evidence. What if we follow her?
Spy on the spy master?
Yeah, she'll never see it coming, right?
Count me out. I'll stay here.
What do you think? Is this a great idea or no?
You can do whatever you'd like. We're not here together. We're here working separately. It
I
seems
feel
to be
like we
what the
literally
training
are
is.
here together.
The training was designed so that we were working separately. So wouldn't it be prudent for us to be working separately now?
But aren't we all going to go together on our mission?
Go.
We
yes,
will have to
but
work together.
We haven't had any training on group activities, on what we should do as a group.
That
so
sounds
I'm curious.
Peak of the system than anything.
I mean, I'm just trying to follow the rules. I'm trying to do what might be right here, what they might want us to be doing.
I'm sure there's a logical explanation for all of this, and if she's in the right and she's innocent, which I'm sure she is, she'll just tell us. Right, everyone?
No.
No, but did you get to smell that blue thing?
Did I get to smell
it? Yeah. When you it?
That wouldn't have been my first choice. So does anyone want to go with me to see if this lady's doing anything weird?
I'll go.
You go?
Yeah.
I'll go with you.
Her lab set up at the very least.
Yeah, so Alexa could be in danger or something.
I'll trail behind, but I won't go in with you.
Okay, fair.
Okay. So the guards come over and are trying to figure out what to do with the Onkeg body. now that you guys seem to be done with it. And they don't really have a clue what to do with it. It's just this giant thing. They don't really have like, I don't know, what are we supposed to do? Throw this in a garbage can somewhere? Like, it's very confusing. They don't know quite how to play it.
Might I propose a solution?
Sure.
We never let nature go to waste. How about we give it a burial at sea so that something else can enjoy a meal?
What? But wasn't it used
Okay.
with, like, wasn't it like supersized? Is that a good idea?
You could be poisoning a lot of fish out there.
Or making them really big?
Well, that would
That would be great. I do like fish.
I love how Noah's like scared of big fish or whatever, and everyone else is like, "Ooh, big fish!"
Big fish.
What could
Excellent.
possibly go wrong?
Yeah. So one of the guards, she looks at you and she says, "Yeah, why don't you come with us and help us out with this? See if we can arrange like a burial at sea for this thing."
Sounds good.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll break into a couple different groups here. We'll see what happens. So let's see. Selexa is off with Professor Sixoli. Your names are a little bit too close together.
Yeah,
I apologize.
I noticed that.
It was not intentional. I named her before you named your character, but whatever. Too late now. Yeah, Timothy is off with the guards to arrange for a burial at sea, doing the man of the town person thing. We've got Nova and Thea off to spy, and Caliban sort of on his own, maybe helping them, maybe staying in himself, maybe going somewhere else entirely.
Caliban is going to go try to find Roland.
Excellent. Perfect. So let's start with Selexa. Hi, Selexa. How you doing?
I've been better. It's been a kind of a day.
Yeah. And she is so ignorant of the fact that you've been stabbed because you're not bleeding anymore.
Right.
So, like you can see the wound; it's right there. But she like looks at it and it's like, whatever. You're not. That was whatever. That was a while ago. You're fine. And so she just takes to her lab, and the first thing she does is she starts pouring the food and the half-eaten blue ball into like water to clean the food off of it without touching it in any way. And she starts doing like sort of experiments, trying to figure out what this thing is, or at least that's what it seems to be doing. And she turns to you and says, "Take down these notes." All right. And she starts saying things. The substance is blank, 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 blah, blah, blah. I'm going to ditch the sciencey talk here for a minute. But I want you to roll a intelligence check, if you'd like. Just straight intelligence.
Wait, is that the same as do it the same way as a saving throw?
No, it's going to be just click on the stat itself to the left.
Right. Okay. Intelligence. Got it.
This is the sort of thing that will very rarely come up anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, so with a 7, yeah, she's not really doing a good job of explaining things to you. She's just sort of talking past you, and you're supposed to be taking notes on all this stuff.
And I really could not care at all at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And she's totally ignorant of your pain and suffering that you've gone through in this day. So, like, this is just blowing past you a little bit. You're not even paying attention. You're taking the notes as you're supposed to do or whatever, but all these things that she's doing to this just mean nothing to you. Excellent. So let's check in with Timothy. So Timothy, you are put on like a boat. They like decide to sail out a little bit. And there's a bunch of like soldiers on the boat who are like carrying this thing, but the boat is mostly just like nice people who are there to like sail ships a little bit, and mostly they go fishing. And I think that you've sort of become friends with some of these people, right? You're an easygoing guy, and these people sort of fish for the sustenance of the island, of the floating city of Terra Vest. And they are just looking to you to lead them in this burial at sea. So what do you do? What does this look like? Walk me through the
Well,
scenario.
actually, I apologize for all of you here. I think I missold this. I don't believe in letting anything go to waste. And I take out like a knife, and I start cutting as humanely as possible, cutting off pieces of this, and I say, let's let this lead to better catches. And I say, and we can chum the water a little bit.
Yeah. Why don't you roll a survival check for me?
All right.
Yeah. So you chum the water, but as you are chumming the water, you're throwing this stuff into the water. This weird filament just sort of comes off of the flesh of this thing. When you dump it in the water around it starts to turn this eerie green color. It does not look like good water. And it happens almost immediately.
Huh, that's new to me. Is that new to all of you? You're seeing that too? Oh, okay. Interesting.
Look at you with like wide eyes.
Huh. Wow. Well, I'm in the wrong here. How about we sail away from this patch and get back to just some good old-fashioned normal fishing?
Yeah, and they like flee a little bit. There's still this dead Ankeg on the boat, tossed in like one mandible or whatever. It's just lying there, and you guys go fishing. Excellent.
Sorry. Can I also take a little? Oh no, never mind. We're good.
Okay, sure. I'm open. You've got room.
Could I find like a container to scoop up some of that greenish water from the
Of course,
sea?
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, I will do that before we go.
Beautiful. Okay, you've got some greenish container in a vial. You can even write down your character sheet. I recommend putting it on page 2 of your character sheet. I know
Cool.
page 3 is spells, but the bio has a spot for in the bottom, it has a box for treasure that is just a box that you can put any text in that you so desire. I recommend putting unusual items there. Like, say, I don't know, an 8-pointed star that your sister gave you, or a vial of green goo that I found in the ocean when I dumped an Ankeg in it. Try to give some detail on it so that we remember what it is. Don't just write vial of green goo, because I've mixed up vials of green goo before. So
Got it.
you know, they're all
That'll be
Icar,
all.
but all are all Icar's the same. Excellent. Let's check in with our order cleric next, as he goes to find Roland Starbrand.
Yeah.
So you find Roland in his office. He's got
Just putting this
paperwork.
out there, you may or may not still have bardic inspiration for a few minutes. I don't know.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely, you still do.
Thank you.
For this conversation, you still definitely have it. So you go to Roland's office. It's not far from where you were.
Okay.
And he is sitting at his desk doing paperwork. And he looks a little tired.
He's alone?
There's a secretary out front, but she says, yeah, go on in.
Oh, thank you. I knock a little bit on the side.
What?
On the...
Oh,
Sorry, I'm
it's
so
you.
sorry to disturb you. May
No
I?
worries. Come in. I thought you were one of those irritating ambassadors.
No, just me. And I walk in sort of slowly, looking around. Beautiful office. Sorry to disturb you. We were the 5 of us. Those who were you sent us letters. Were just attacked in the menagerie by an Ankeg. It had escaped one of the cages by burrowing underneath, and it seemed to be, after sort of carefully going over its tracks, it was going straight toward us. It was larger, and then it was smaller, and we were being led by Sexoli, Dr. Sexoli, but she left as soon as the Ankeg attacked. I thought that was strange. And when she came back, she found a blue orb of some sort, a blue rock. I don't know, and went to go study it. But it was obvious to me that the Ankh was going straight toward us. I think someone doesn't want us going to see the Kva.
Were any of you killed or permanently maimed?
Selixa was badly injured, but I healed her immediately after the fact. I want to let you know that if you do need anything from us, from those of us going to see the Kva, I'm the most capable. And if you should need anything, please just be in touch with me. I'd be happy to help.
He looks at you sternly, but roll a persuasion check.
Cool. Do I call Bardic Inspiration after the fact, or
Yeah, you roll first and then determine before
Cool.
you know whether it succeeds or not, whether you want to use Bardic Inspiration. So you see what you roll, but you don't see, but you don't get to know the result.
Persuasion, we said?
Mhm.
Okay. I'm going to use the Bardic Inspiration.
That's a D6 at this level, I believe.
Okay.
Right.
So
Correct.
just roll 1d6 in addition?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm moving the turn order away. D6.
Oh, I'll get rid of that.
Plus 2, so 20. 20
Nice.
total.
So he looks at you and he says, "Huh, you healed Selixa?
I did.
Was she badly injured?
Near death.
You have skills then as a healer.
I have skills as a healer. I have skills as a fighter. I sort of motioned to the glaive on my back. I have skills as a spellcaster. I have skills as a diplomat. I have skills as an inquisitor.
This is good to know. It's good that we have someone like you going to the Kava. The truth of the matter is that I know little of what you will be facing. And so the most important thing that I can do is prepare you for a variety of situations. My thoughts must remain relatively secret, especially from one who is going to the Kava. I'm sure you can understand that.
Understood.
But it is good to know that I have your loyalty.
You do.
And I want you to know that your loyalty, whatever form it takes, will be deeply rewarded. You strike me as one who is ambitious.
Caliban just sort of smiles thinly.
And what is it that you are ambitious for? Riches? Women? Men? Wine? Fame? Power?
Power in a sense, but control of my own destiny.
You are ambitious for freedom.
Yes.
Your own kind of freedom.
Yes.
A destiny not written in the stars, were it to say.
Fate is chaotic.
We make our own way.
We make our own way.
In your cabin on the boat that you will be taking to the Kava, there will be a small unmarked box. Do not look inside it, but take it with you. You may look inside it once you are inside the Kava. That is all I will say.
Nods his head. Thank you so much. And turns around and Caliban takes his leave.
And now to check in with our spies. Yeah, Nova. So Alexa and Suxali are heading
oh,
off.
No.
Are heading off. And you guys want to? Is your intent to follow them? You want to go to the learning to like the her secret lab or whatever? Is that the plan, or do you want to go search through like she's where she's going to be, so you're going to search through somewhere else or something?
I kind of feel like we should search through where she isn't going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. So she's gone to her lab, but she has an office, and her office is it's not near her lab. Her lab is sort of like a different place than her office. So you want to search her office is the plan, right?
Okay.
Make
Yeah,
sense?
let's search her office.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. So you get to her office. The door is locked.
All right.
Okay.
Well, do you have any? I say to Thea, do you have any way to open this door?
Is there anything in thieves' tools that?
Yes, absolutely. There are lockpicks and thieves' tools.
Okay. I have this lockpick. Maybe I could try that.
All right, that sounds great. Glad I took the road with me.
The road to spy? Who would have guessed? Yes. Why don't you
Who
click
would have thought?
on? You should be able to just click on thieves' tools in your tool proficiencies.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah. So you reach around inside and you just sort of pick the locks and tick. You hear that satisfying click as the door unlocks itself.
Clickety click clack. All right, we're in.
So the door opens. It's a neat office. It's highly organized. Everything is very put together in file cabinet type things and drawers. And she's got a desk that's very, very neat. Roland's desk, by contrast, always has like stacks of papers on it that he's avoiding, and things like that. But this is like a prim and proper. Everything is very much in its place.
Okay. Can I look around for anything that looks like a safe or any locked drawers on her desk?
Absolutely, yeah. Yes, she has 3 locked doors on her desk, and 1 locked door on a cabinet. She also has 3 doors that are not locked on her desk, and several other cabinets that are not locked as well. So you find 4 locked things in there.
Well, if I was trying to hide something, I'd put it somewhere locked. Should we start with the locked ones?
Yeah, let's do a lock. Let's unlock some locked things.
Do you want to start with the cabinet or one of the drawers? If the drawers, it's gonna be random, but if it's the cabinet, it'll be the cabinet.
What do you think?
Maybe something in the desk. Maybe the smallest door.
Okay. Let's roll another thieves' tools check. See what happens. Yeah. So you're trying to pick the lock on the door, and you're going to get it open eventually, but you hear guards outside, and you hear someone say, "Wait, she called from what from her office?"
Oh shit!
She called what from what?
So the guard. There's just like a guard outside, and she called for just shouting like, "What did she want from her office?"
All right. We
Shouting
gotta hide.
back over his shoulder. Yeah.
Is there anywhere to hide?
I don't know. Where would you look to hide? Would you hide? Where would you look to hide? There might be a closet or something.
Yeah, is there a closet?
Yes, there's a closet. You can hide in the closet. It's pretty cramped, but it's a closet for a couple of jackets or something like that. You both want to hide in the closet?
Yeah, let's go in the closet.
Okay. Yeah. I would like you both to roll stealth checks, please.
Oh, great.
I'm gonna need you to roll better.
I'll try.
For the record. Yeah, absolutely. So the guard, some guard comes in and goes over to like the desk drawers and rolls out the middle of it and like reaches in and sort of starts like fussing around. As he's fussing around, Thea, a spider like lands on your nose, and you just sort of like have to react to this somehow. Why don't you roll a wisdom saving throw to keep your cool?
I just click on wisdom.
Yeah, in the box next to that, it should say saving throws.
Next to.
Next to your stat. Yes, you should just click on wisdom. It'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so you're able to keep your cool as this spider lands on your nose. And like you don't immediately panic and freak out, but or you do a little bit, but it doesn't make any noise when you do so. Oh, so cute.
Just silently trying to
Mhm.
wipe it off of
Mhm.
my face.
Yeah, absolutely. So the guard finds what he's looking for and pulls it out, and it's like a piece of paper, and he just sort of glances at it a little bit. And he's like, why did she want this of all things? And he closes the drawer and walks out the door and heads down the hallway. The room is now empty.
Ooh, I
Let's
bust
get
out of the closet. I
Go to
stomp on the spider. Ugh.
Let's try some more locks.
Should we look through that drawer the guard just looked through?
Sure. Yeah, let's do that first.
Maybe try to get a clue what he took out.
Yeah, absolutely. So you open up that drawer. It's mostly filled with like there's like a pen cap in there, or like a pen quill casing. Sorry, a whole quill casing there for taking notes and things like that. And then there's just a stack of papers. Make an investigation check for me, one of you.
I'll do it.
Okay. That is a 21 on your investigation check. Yeah. You recognize these papers as dates and times and results of experiments. And they say things like they're all measurements. All of the results of the experiments are measurements, and they vary in size. They vary from like 2 centimeters to 14 feet. So there's a huge amount of variance here. Yeah.
Sounds like size changing, maybe. That's incriminating. Maybe. Let's take some of these, or take one that looks relevant. One with a big number on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So you take one that has a big number on it, and take it away. Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to continue to search the office? You'll be at risk of being caught if you continue to search the office. If you leave now, you're fine. At risk is not the same thing as being caught, though.
Maybe we'll search one more thing.
Okay. What do you want to search?
Did we already manage to get one cabinet open or one drawer
You have
open?
one drawer unlocked. There's also the cabinet. You haven't really gone through the drawer that's unlocked yet.
Let's go. Maybe we'll go through that drawer first and see what we find.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to roll randomly to see which drawer you get. Okay. Yeah. You open this drawer, and it is 5 very long, extensive reports. One on each of you, detailing insanely detailed stuff about your life. Most of the stuff you look at, it's stuff that you told her when you were being interviewed by her. But there's stuff that like you didn't know, right? Like there's confirmation that your 3rd grade boyfriend cheated on you with your, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like weird stuff like that's like way too detailed. Like they cross-examined your family or something like that. It's pretty intense stuff, but yeah, so it's very, very detailed. That's what you find in that drawer.
Should we take this?
I think it'd be too suspicious if we took it.
I wanna look at I wanna glance through them and see if anything sticks out on anyone's files.
All right.
Yeah, roll an investigation check for me, please. Another one. I know I've been doing a lot of those for you, but that's what you're doing. Yeah. Let's see. I'm gonna randomize this. Okay, what do I got? 1, 2, 3. Nope, that doesn't make sense. Oh, I should roll 1, 2, 3. My bad. Okay, let's do it. What creepy and or weird or interesting thing does she find in your file, Caliban? This can be something that Caliban is aware of or not. What thing does Nova find that that she finds interesting?
I think she finds his name that he didn't.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think she finds the name he wanted for himself.
Interesting. So, for those that don't know, in Chalestra, there is a ritual that occurs when a child reaches 11. When they turn 11, they are given they have a vision and a conversation with a sage or a priest or some sort of leader in their community. And from this, they're supposed to choose their own name. Now, if you know any 11-year-olds, you know that this sometimes goes poorly. And that some people are stuck with bad names, lame names, horrible names for the rest of their lives. But it's a very serious and important ceremony in Chalestran culture, right? It's something that they value and believe in. Caliban did this ritual when he was 11, but for whatever reason, when he tried to tell the sage what name came to him, he found himself struck mute. And so instead named himself Caliban, which was not the name that he wanted to give himself.
He tried to write down the name that he wanted, but instead his hand wrote Caliban. And the name that he wanted for himself, I was going to flesh this out with you a little bit later, but
yeah, sure.
one of the Akatsuki, sort of a name passed down in his family, an old tribe name.
Beautiful. I love it.
But yeah, I'll figure out what it is later. But
awesome.
You
Is that the name? Is that the name that she finds written in the document?
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. That's creepy. The fact that they know that. That's awesome. I love it.
While Nova is looking at Caliban's document, I think could I be looking at Selexa's document? Because I'm like, there's gonna be some
absolutely
thing suspicious in here.
Yeah, at this point, I'm gonna need to roll a 1d20 to determine if someone's gonna catch you guys. Okay. So, Selexa, let's do one weird, creepy thing that Thea finds about you, whether you know it or not.
Okay, so let's see. So you see, it's not so much like one thing as like a series of kind of like a series of events of her like constantly like leaving her home and the like court where she tends to live, and like going off with some person or another, and like having like going on sort of like irresponsible adventures somewhere. It's like kind of like along the lines of what she was saying earlier about how she like went to this feast and then ended up at this like giant tarantula fight. Or say another time when she like started at a party at home, and then in some way, like, she doesn't really exactly remember how it happened, but she like woke up in the in like some stranger's house in Prion that was like totally empty and abandoned, and she had no idea how she got there. And then she ended up like hitchhiking to get home. Or so like there's all these like just she has a history of fairly like fairly poor decision making and tending to like get into strange situations.
So I think,
yeah,
for the sake of it, if no one objects to this, I think for the sake of it, one of the things that you read in this packet, Thea, about Selexa, is definitely something that you were there for and had no idea that Celexa was there for it. And I think you feel some sort of resentment for it. We can craft what that is between sessions or something like that.
Okay.
But there's some sort of event, like maybe the giant tarantula fight or something like that. Like maybe your best friend was press ganged into it and then got killed by a runaway tarantula or something. Who knows? But we'll craft something like that. And so like you have a little bit of resentment towards this, if that makes sense. And you know what? I can't help. We're gonna do one more of these. You guys are gonna, of course, find something funky on Timothy. I can't help it. I'm just having too much fun with it. So, Timothy, why don't you tell us one weird thing that they would find in this report about you?
Okay, well, not so much weird as I think probably sad. He is estranged from his wife. In fact, like none of you, like it's never ever come up. Like he's never mentioned once that he was married, and I think the report is entirely from her side, and it just says how it's like he just kept going fishing and just left longer and longer trips. And when he came home, we would fight about it, and then one day he just didn't come home.
Okay. Beautiful. I love it. So it's at this point that like things are heating up outside. There's definitely some people around, and you're like worried that our professor might come back. You don't know really how long she's gone, but Professor Saxoli might return. We might even call her Professor Recha because Recha's her last name, and that's a
Thank
bit.
you.
I'm gonna go with that. She's Professor Recha. I'm so happy about this. Thank you. Good freaking call. Apologize to you, Nika slash Celexa. Professor Recha is yeah. So you're worried that she might come back and things like that, and you've got to take what you got and run. You've dug through the reports a little bit. You've gotten some information. You guys didn't look at each other's reports because each other was there.
It would be rude.
It would be rude. But you get some background information on some of these people that you're going to be traveling with, and you guys sneak on out of the place with the document that you found before. And I think that you guys leave, and as you sort of leave this building, the two of you see something, and I think we see this from multiple angles. I think you guys leave this sort of building, and you're on like a rooftop, which has like a grand spiral staircase down, but you suddenly you're in shade, and you should be in the sun. And out on the water, we see Timothy look up towards the sky as he sees something sort of in the distance, this large flying creature. And of course, from outside Roland's office, on sort of a quiet area of the island where there's sort of like a stone garden type thing, you look up Caliban and see this floating thing, and through a window, Celexa, while doing this research, you see this flying, floating thing. And of course, the audience recognizes it, but none of you do, as the airship that we know is going to crash with all of you aboard. And I think that's where we will end today's episode, if that's okay with everyone. Okay. Feel good, everyone? Everyone have fun?
Yeah.
First episode's
Yeah.
always a little rocky, but it felt good to me. I liked it.
Absolutely.
Great.
No one died, so
No one died
No
yet.
one died. Yeah.
Well, we
Close.
don't know. We've seen the future, so we don't know who's dying in the crash.
It's true.
And all that good stuff. Excellent. Well, thank you, those of you who are watching. I always appreciate your attendance. We really love it to have all this stuff coming together. And yeah, we're having a good time here. So please continue to watch. This is a brand new campaign, so we can watch these characters evolve and their stories unfold moving into the future. From that perspective, feel free to join us next week at 4:30 as we continue the tale of these awesome chosen few. Those of you at home, don't forget to wash your hands and take good care of yourselves. Also, most important things, as always, please call your cat, feed your mom. Bye, everyone.